and investors are viewing the AI-related sell-off differently. Warren Pies of 314 Research is downgrading stocks, saying momentum has stalled. The S&P 500 has entered into a consolidation period, while Malcolm Ethridge of Capital Era Planning Group says investors who choose to sell the sector right now will regret it in the next 12 months. We started off today with Malcolm's thoughts. Malcolm, you've been buying into these dips. Which dips? Because it's been a steady drip lower until this week in the software names.
Yeah, Melissa, I'm glad you framed it that way, because I don't necessarily mean that you want to buy every single dip in every single name. I don't want to buy the IGV just across the board and hope that the entire sector rebounds together. But I do think that some names have been sold off in a way that just doesn't make sense anymore. I think about like an Okta, for example, which I don't own personally, but I've been paying attention to. It's down over 20% just in the last month. But their claim to fame is in identity security, right? So you have a lot of these cybersecurity names that have been sold off recently, where we're entering a world where identity security will matter even more, because the bots are supposed to be taking over our machines and logging in as us to do work on our machines. I think we're going to need a little bit more security to make sure that the person doing the decision making is actually who's supposed to be accessing the computer. So across the board, software doesn't need to be selling off, but I'm sure there are some companies that will be taken out by the waves that companies like Anthropic and others have been making with AI.
You've been buying outside of software, IBM, but Zscaler as well as ServiceNow. I mean, if you can just sort of go to ServiceNow and sort of walk us through how you view the moat against AI there. SaaS players, in theory, should have a moat, but they have not. It's been a SaaSpocalypse, as the phrase is at these times. And how confident are you in trying to figure out what that business model will be in 2-3 years?
Yeah, so it's two parts. It's one, do you believe that the companies that exist that are at the forefront right now, enterprise IT, are going to figure out a way to participate in the AI revolution going forward, right? That's one question. The other is, do you agree with the service model that exists today that these companies use to build their customers, their clients? And that's another piece of it. So anybody who's charging right now on a per seat, per head count basis, you think about like a Salesforce, for example, anytime you see a massive layoff like Block just announced, that isn't necessarily good news for a company like Salesforce. But if you think about a company where it's more consumption-based or usage-based, and we don't care necessarily how many people at the company are accessing the software tool, we just care about how much of it is being used at any given time, I think that's a different way to think about this. Also, the flex models that some of the cybersecurity companies like a CrowdStrike or a Zscaler with Z-Flex and Falcon Flex, those models allow companies to decide when and how to scale up and scale down their usage of their particular security offerings. And so, again, that's a way to stay in the company's zeitgeist. And maybe from one quarter to the next, while they're working on different projects, they're dialing it down a little bit, but you don't completely lose the business, which is the way that the software market is reacting right now. It's as if all of a sudden the enterprise need for IT is just going to go away completely.
Well, yeah, Malcolm, and the fact that the market has been so quick to rush out of these stocks without having really a coherent idea of exactly how the business declines from this point on, I wonder what you think it would take for these companies to kind of, make their case and prove that. Because, the bear case, the AI is moving so fast, it's going to displace all these companies. It's undisprovable in the short term. And we see these charts that, by the way, job openings for software engineers are up. And it's not as if these companies themselves are in deep retrenchment mode, no matter what Block is doing.
Yeah, Mike, you make a really great point. I think the short answer to that question is, for earnings periods going forward, we really need to pay attention to the net retention numbers. So some of these companies will see the net retention number go down. For others, we'll see it be positive, and it'll be more than a 100% number. So again, focusing on cybersecurity, because to me, that's kind of the most blatant and obvious space that investors have just completely gotten this wrong. The net retention numbers there, 130, 140, those are the numbers that they were boasting in earnings previously. So if we see that number stay similar, stay flat, or get better, then we know that the companies are actually growing their footprints. They're actually landing and expanding, as they say, in these companies that they do business with, and it's not so much Anthropic is coming to eat their lunch.
Have you been buying Microsoft, Malcolm? And I asked you because they have the per-seat model. And what the per-seat model has shown, at least in terms of the AI sales, is that Copilot hasn't really been picked up too much within their universe of Windows 360 users.
Haven't bought Microsoft yet, haven't been willing to call this the place that the bleeding stops with Microsoft. But I do think that we have to consider how much of an install base Microsoft has, how embedded it is into everyone's work lives. And so you have either the G Suite or you have the Microsoft 365, and those are kind of your two options. I think that we have to consider, especially as Microsoft just opened up the door to have a relationship with Anthropic to start using co-work inside of its environment and kind of adopt what co-work can do in relation to Copilot. I think we need to give them some time. Relationship started in November when they reworked the relationship with OpenAI. And so I think Microsoft has a lot of runway ahead of it. I'm not necessarily willing to say here is where the bottom is for a name like Microsoft.